Hello, okay, I know this is a longer video, but the second half is just me going through the boss fight. I decided that I would actually start this just by showing off uh, Chariot once you can control it, because the boss fight, I think, is maybe more fun when you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Um, at least it's more interesting. I mean, that's kind of how it was in the in canon, so I'm actually going to leave that at the end. And to start off, I'll show you what happens once you win the boss fight. So the first thing, you get to keep the stand arrow. So that's something cool. That's a neat thing. The second thing is that you get a couple of new items, and your old items actually don't work anymore. Basically, all of the items except for strike no longer work in this form, so you can actually throw them out. They won't get replaced. You won't have to worry about inventory space and all that. This is the first new item we get. Offhand desummon. It's in my offhand right now. 9th slot. Summon. So the one that I have selected right now on my hotbar, if I press F, it'll swap my main and offhand. And there you go. So you can see you now have Chariot Requiem as a stand. It has no longer has the arrow. It actually has a sheathed foil there. What are the abilities? Well, we have a couple new ones, but just to start off with, I'll just demonstrate that it does still work. I don't have anything set up. I'll just go kill this cow. As you can see, it kills things. Yep, just attacks him like normal. If I put in my offhand, he does a barrage. And the particles are a little different. They're the enchanted particles. If you want to desummon it, put it in your offhand. Summon it, do that. And if you drop the items, you get them back, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's actually a glitch that they don't show up visually in your inventory. They are there, they just don't show up visually. That's a Minecraft thing. It's not a me thing. You'll notice you have a couple new abilities. You have 3 new ones. This one actually has more items than the last 2 stands I made, including Chariot itself, Silver Chariot itself. So the first one is this aura control. This is actually a really important item because other abilities require this to be on. So as you can see, if you click, it'll toggle a sleeping aura, and if you put it in your offhand, it'll put nearby players into mobs. Now, I actually may need to do some testing, and unfortunately I don't have a player here to demonstrate it. I tested it with myself and it worked. But I won't be able to show you this part of it today. Just know, put this into your offhand, the aura's on, it'll put nearby players that are very close to you into other mobs. I'm going to use this ability, and you can see all the mobs around me. I use that noise goes off, and all of a sudden there are shadows all over them. When mobs are asleep, they have no AI. You kind of punch them, they don't run away. Yeah, there's not much to it. If you want to turn it off, click again. Everything's back to normal. This only affects kind of small radius, like 50 blocks around you. If you have, I'm going to take a big risk here. Alright, so if you have an iron golem, and let's say he's angry at you, I'm about to make him pretty angry at me. Alright, so this iron golem's angry at me. He's walking over to me because he wants to beat me up. I can put him to sleep, and then, same as I could with normal Chariot, I can actually beat him up. And he floated there for a little longer. That's just because when mobs don't have AI, they don't fall. That's a weird thing too. That includes boss mobs, by the way. That includes the Ender Dragon, though you'd probably have to wait for it to get down to the ground. And also, when you finish it off, you have to attack it, or else it won't give you any experience. That's just, again, Minecraft, not... It doesn't want you to get experience from the boss fights unless you actually kill the mob yourself with some tool. So the stand won't give you XP, but it'll still open the portal, it'll still be all the same. You won't really ruin anything. And the Wither will still drop as another star if you kill it with the stand, so don't worry about that. Alright, so this next item, very straightforward. Click to become stand. I think you know what that means. If I zoom out here and I right click, You can't really see it because of how Minecraft renders invisible people, but I am now Silver Chariot Requiem. Now if I walk around, movement's a little laggy. The slower I go, the smoother it appears. But you'll see I'm just in the stand. And saturation I gave myself for the presentation, but you also get resistance as well as slowness. So, and invisibility. Really, there aren't too many benefits of doing this. It's more to just have fun, you know? It's fun to be the stand. Kind of walked around on its own for the entirety of its appearance, so it makes sense to have this as an ability. Hostile mobs won't see you. That's a positive. That's definitely a positive. But again, you are slow, and it's harder to use items when you are the stand, and that's, again, a Minecraft thing. When you're inside of another entity, it doesn't like you using items. I'm right-clicking right now. The easiest way around this is simply to move forwards just a tiny bit, and then you'll be good. To undo this, just have to right-click again, and you'll go back to normal. And now that it's nighttime, we actually may have more mobs to demonstrate. This final ability, which is pretty fun. So this last ability is to body swap with some selected mob. Now this does not work on boss mobs. That's something I put in because it's a little glitchy when you try to do that. And also not that fun. It's just not fun, guys. You don't want to do it. So the way that it works is that you need to first have the aura on. So I'll do that. And let's go over here. Let's go towards these hostile mobs, just to show that it's safe. So as you can see, all the hostile mobs are asleep. When I put this out, there'll be a little particle effect around whichever mob my cursor is nearest, and that mob will also glow. This shows you which mob you are selecting. This does not work on players, by the way, so don't try to possess your friends. If I right click, when this is over a mob who is asleep, I will become that mob. And I can see I still have Chariot out. You can actually put Chariot away, and the effects will still be in place. Here you go, I'm a skeleton, I'm running around. Now, as a skeleton, I don't have any special abilities. There are certain mobs that actually do, and that includes any other time you are possessed by Chariot Requiem, because there are other times, like, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're a friend who's possessed, like if there's a player near you that you put into a different body, they will also have these sort of special effects depending on the mob. It's most notably bats. I'll show you that later. Anyways, so I'm a skeleton. I don't want to be a skeleton. I want to be this creeper. Now I'm this creeper. Skeleton's back to sleep. I want to be this skeleton. You can use this as many times and as fast as you want. Now, if I hurt myself, so if I give myself instant damage, and I swap bodies, it'll heal me back up. Now I was already regenerating health because I have saturation, but if you swap with mobs, it actually heals you. So if you're in a fight, you're low HP, you can very easily just do this. But again, it will not work if the aura is not on. So you can see I go over to this mob, try to possess it, nothing happens. I'm right clicking, he's not glowing or anything. If you want to return to your normal body, all you have to do, I'd recommend doing this with your aura on if you're in my case, because if not, the creeper will immediately kill you. Put this in your offhand. Now, there is a cooldown to this, though. So, let's say I was just being attacked, I'm at low health, I swap to a mob. If I immediately put this in my offhand, it actually won't work. There's like a 20-second cooldown. Yeah, 20-second cooldown before you can go back to just being a normal player after you swap with a mob. This is basically just to prevent you from swapping to a mob, healing, then going back to your normal body. The last thing is that if you are a mob, this isn't actually the last thing, but I'm just going to show this off here. If the mob you are possessing dies, so if this cow dies, and I can do that myself just by turning really fast, then you yourself will die. But you'll only die if the cooldown on returning to your body isn't done yet. So let me go real quick. Let me swap with that cow. You see how I didn't die there. But if I swap with this cow, and then immediately it dies, I die. So if you possess a bat, if you possess a slime, slimes they give you a jump boost. Some mobs give you some special effects, but most don't. Most of them are just visuals. But if you are a bat, you are a flying mob, so you actually have slow falling. And if you look upright, you will actually start to fly. You'll start to fly upwards. You have to be looking at kind of a high angle for this to work. And when you do it, you'll start to fly. That's basically the end of it. Anyone who's possessing a bat has this ability. It's definitely an upside to being a bat. The downside is, of course, bats have 3 hearts total. So if that bat dies, chances are you're not going to be in luck. And yeah, that's basically the end of it. The second half of this video will be about the boss fight. That'll be me doing that in this world before I was actually controlling this. If you don't want to be spoiled, I just click off the video now. But if you do want to, or if you're confused, feel free. Okay, here we go. Throw that down there. Starting from scratch. Throw one of those down. Throw that down. There we go. Now I want that there. Okay. Now ready for the fight. This is a good area, I think. It's pretty open. That's a good thing. Kind of. It's kind of a good thing. Okay, so to start it, I'm going to throw that down. And we're going to stab it. Just need to have the arrow come into contact with Chariot. And that'll initiate the fight. So if I right click. Okay. I think I'm a bat. I'm a bat. Okay. So when the fight first begins, you're put into a random mob nearby, as well as put to sleep. Okay. Since I'm a bat, I can fly. I'm going to use that. Although I have to be careful not to hurt the mob that I'm in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump, look straight up. I'm just going to fly straight out of here. So when you start the fight, your goal is to first find where Chariot is. And he'll appear right where you summoned him. So really your goal is just to get back to wherever you did that. If you're put into a mob that's in a cave, it's kind of unfortunate. In some senses, it's actually better to do this at night because you're more likely to be put, since there are more mobs on the surface, more likely to be put into one of those. Alright, here we go. It's taking a little bit. But I am pretty sure that this is much faster than actually. Yep, okay, there we go. Here we go, and I'm in all my armor still. There it is. Okay. As you can see, there he is. He's walking around. He's not doing anything yet. If I get near him, he won't get angry at me. There are certain mobs that he will get angry at, like hostile mobs. But you can also see all these other mobs around. They're all asleep. They're all hanging their heads down because they're all asleep. Okay, so yeah, stage 1 of the fight is basically the initial part, and your goal is just to find Chariot and then begin the next phase. So the way you do that is by slapping him. Okay, now he's angry at me. He's not going to walk. Then he's going to run. Then he is going to run. Okay. And this is when it helps to be a flying mob, like a bat, because I can just look up, as I discussed before. And then I will float. And then he will That's actually not helpful right now. Okay. And he will chase after me. Okay. So in stage 2, he's very angry. If I shoot an arrow at him, you can see he actually doesn't take damage. He does not take damage in this phase. The only way to stop him from being angry is to give him his arrow back. So if you were going into this blind, this would sort of be your introduction to the mechanics of how he works. And I'm going to stay away from him because this third phase, kind of dangerous for me in particular, because I am a low HP mob. For the sake of you guys, I will run right at him and die. Yep. So in stage 3, he gets a bodyguard. He gets a gold experience bodyguard. And when the mob that you possess dies, you don't actually die. You get sent to a different mob. In this case, I was sent to a skeleton. This is actually really unfortunate because it's daytime, so if I go up there, I will burn. There we go. Okay, I'm no longer a skeleton. You can see I'm a bat again, and now I have to figure out a way out. I don't know. If you're ever wondering if you're wandering too far away... Wow, okay, I cannot believe I didn't see that. Anyways, if you're ever wondering if you're too far away, you'll actually be able to tell by whether or not the nearby mobs are asleep. So I'm a zombie right now. I'm gonna take care of that. And yes, you can force yourself to change mobs by doing this. This is a legitimate strategy. Oh, I'm a spider? No, I'm a bat. Okay, that's good. And let's see. There he is. There's some llamas too. Okay. So now that I'm a bat, we already saw what happens if I get too close. Now gold experience does not one-shot your mob. He does not just instantly kill it. You only killed the bat because bats have low health. If you were a tankier mob, you'd actually be able to run up, take the hit, and then while gold experience's punch is on cooldown, you could go at Chariot. Personally, I'm just going to do this with a bow. So I do this, run away, keep my distance. This is a viable strategy for taking on this phase of the boss. It's a viable phase for basically all the phases until the... sorry, a viable strategy for all the phases until you get to the very end. And now you can see hostile mobs are spawning. They're all being put to sleep as well. Yeah, I want to take him out. There we go. Okay. Stage 4, pick up the arrow. And then I have to give it back to him. In some cases, oh my god. In some cases, this is easier to do than others. Alright. Just so you can see, hiding under trees will not work. He will break the blocks, and you'll be in trouble. He will get angry at whoever is holding the arrow, which right now is me. Ah, my shoot. Okay. Alright, I moved away. This is actually unfortunate too, because fish die if they're not in water for too long. Okay, take it. Take it. Take it. Take it. Take it. Oh, shoot. Dude, no, take your arrow. Take your arrow, please. Take your arrow. Oh, okay. Okay, we did it. We did it. He took his arrow back. So stage 5, characterized by two things. Firstly, is that he will start spawning these things, which will attack you, and they'll possess nearby mobs. They'll get angry at you. Yeah, right now that fish having trouble on land, that's fine. They're actually very strong in water, too. And I'm sure you guys caught a glimpse of that. Anyways, you also for this stage are put back into your normal body. You're no longer possessing mobs. See spawning mobs. Right now they're all stuck in the water. That's good for us. Let's go at him. He no longer has the gold experience bodyguard, so we can actually afford to get close to him without immediately taking damage. Alright, let's go. I'm hitting a little too early. That's just me not being good at the game. Don't worry about that, guys. You can
guess just to show it off, you can block his hits with your shield if you have one. And he now has a angry man. Okay, he's a little too angry. Oh shoot. Oh no, there's another one. Okay, there are a couple. Yep, you can see if you don't take care of these guys, they start to stack up. They really start to stack up. Okay. Looks like he's distracted though. Okay, good. He will actually kill hostile mobs, as they do technically pose a threat. Boop. There you go. Actually, while he's doing that, I'm going to slap him once. I'm going to slap this guy before he could be a problem. Okay. Oh, okay. I think we're on the sort of final stage. Yep. As you can see, I'm attacking him. He's not taking any damage. This is the final mechanic that you need to know to win this fight. And it's something that you will sort of know intuitively if you have watched the show. You already know. So behind Chariot, whichever, based on whichever direction I'm looking, there's a shadow. The shadow is always on the opposite side from where I am. And that is because there's a light behind me. Now, let me just take care of this. Luckily enough, this creeper will not explode. He'll just attack me. Okay, that's not lucky, though. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. I freed him. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, no, not today. Sorry, buddy. That is because there's a light behind me. You can see it right there. That's Soulfire Flame Particle. Back into this. Gotta watch out. So in order to actually defeat Requiem, you have to hit that orb behind your head. And this will do damage back to you. As you can see, hurt a little bit. Actually kind of hurts a lot. It can kill you if you don't have any armor on. Like, it's just the right amount to kill you if you don't have armor on. I do assume when you do this fight that you'll be a little more advanced in the game. As in you'll have armor and stuff. Given that you need a nether star to actually get a stand in the first place. So the fight is kind of hard, and it does get harder if you're on the hard difficulty. This is probably the hardest part. It's because you have to hit that orb, which in theory isn't too hard. But the orb's position changes depending on where Chariot is. And of course he wants to attack you if you're too close. Or if you've already hit him. So usually the best way to go about it, actually, is if you're with multiple people, is just to have whoever he isn't angry at be the person hitting their orb. And that actually makes things way easier. So I'm going to wait for him to get close, hit the orb. You can see it did a little bit more damage than before, because I hit it with an axe. Did the same amount of reflected damage to me, though. And I think with one more hit. Okay, there we go. You can see he's dead. He dropped a bunch of experience. And he dropped a stand arrow, and I just got some more items. Which I have already explained, so... That's the whole fight.